This 1969 Fastback that you see here is coming to me to have its fuel injection system removed. Now, ordinarily I wouldn't do that on a good operating system, but this owner has had some trouble finding some parts for this thing. He's also had even more trouble finding somebody to work on it. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to try to remove the fuel injection system, and if we should get around to it, we'll start installing the dual Weber ICT carburetors on here instead. We've got a new fuel pump. We've got a new distributor, we got a whole bunch of goodies to install on this thing, and it should run great after that, so we're going to give it that good old Duckman tune. So as always, you guys, welcome back, everybody, to another exciting DuckmanCycles and VW Garage. Likey, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to plug that dingle bell so you get updates every time I upload a video. Check out duckshit.net for all my social media links, and we'll be back right after that intro. Alright, we got him moved around the back here. A little easier for me to work on it back here when not being interrupted constantly by people that want to stop and ask questions. Yeah, this is typical Type 3. Engine is back here. I've already got these open. Lift this up. Try and do it one-handedly. Here we go, and there's our engine. Put a light in here so we can actually probably get some better videos. One of the things that my videos usually lack is adequate lighting. So we're going to do a little better in the future here. There's our fuel injection system. There's our intake runners. There is our air filter and distributor, coil. And for whatever it's worth, we're going to be upgrading or retrofitting or whatever you want to call it back to the carburetor set. Actually, lighting here is pretty good even without this. This camera sometimes does really good, really impresses me. Other times it's absolute crap. This time it looks good. Okay, well, we're going to get to work on this thing. I want to put it up on some ramps, though, to get it a little higher. I am a tall guy, and bending over into these things, not good for my back. So I've already got the ramps out here, so we'll drive it up on this thing. Man, you got holes in your pants. Yeah, well, ram air induction. Well, that's much better. Much more practical for a tall dude like me. I'm going to need to raise the tent up a little bit. I got tightened rope over there. Wind's been blowing a little heavily lately and caused the tent to stretch or sag or the rope stretch, something. I don't know. Anyway, none of that matters. We're going to fix it. Here we are. Alright, first thing's going to come out is going to be the air cleaner in this tube. We'll get that stuff out of the way. I don't know that I'll show every little nut and bolt, so to those of you guys that like to see every little nut and bolt detail, sorry, you're not getting that in this video. Maybe with the assemble stuff, but not so much with the take apart. But we got to get all this stuff out of here. Alright, I don't know how much gas is in that tank. Well, you know, with the nose down, I'm not worried about it leaking back to here. It should be okay. Okay, well, let's start here. And Come on. There you go. Is that loose enough to pull off? It is. Clink. Good. Is this one going to be loose enough to pull out? Also is. In fact, that was taped on. That wasn't even in good shape. Yeah, another reason to remove it, I suppose. Don't tip that over an oil bath cooler. Oil will go everywhere. Okay. Pull this off of here, pull that off of there. Those are not going to be necessary in this takeoff. Here's our fuel injectors down here. I think we should just pull the spark plugs out and get them out the way. I hope I don't have to drop the engine for this. Sometimes it's really hard to reach the intake manifold bolts, especially back there, or forwards of there, I should say. Okay, pull this out, pull this out. Just gonna take these wires, just put them aside. And that dog is really obnoxious. I don't know who that belongs to. I've never heard that one here in the neighborhood before. Okay. Let's get these out the way also. Alright, that one fell apart. Oh, they both fell apart. Alright, we'll get the caps off when we can get in there. Okay, I'm going to need both hands from here out, I think. Here's our vacuum line for the distributor. We'll just leave that on there. It'll come out with the distributor. This is our throttle return spring. That doesn't need to be on there anymore. It's just going to get hung up. I'll get that off of there too. Alright. I guess from here out, I'm going to need to get some tools. Alright, well here we are. You can see I've got the plenum separated from the runners. And mostly I've just removed hoses. There's just been tons and tons of hoses. I did manage to get the bolts out of the intake runners that screw to the cylinder head on both sides. Yeah, the one that was way up front here was kind of hard to get to, but believe it or not, I got on it with an extension at kind of a goofy angle, but it got it out. No, a wobble socket or something probably wouldn't have done the trick because it was just not enough clearance. And one of the problems that I wound up with was the head of the nut actually got chewed up a little bit, which is typical when you're working at a goofy angle. But anyway, those nuts are not going back on. We've got some undersized nuts that are in the carburetor kit that'll go on here instead. Now, I pulled the dipstick out for the automatic transmission because these intake runners were hitting it, but these things should, and they do, come right up and out of here. It looks like the fuel injection, whatever the hell that is, fuel injection wiring was still plugged into it, but it looks like it came out as I tugged on it. That's good. That's going to be out of the way. Stick that over there for the moment. And this one has no transmission fluid. What is screwing under here? Oh, we have a connector here I didn't disconnect. No big deal, right? We'll just remove it. Alright, there it is. We'll get that out of the way. Now I got to get to the bolts of the plenum, and they're kind of underneath, and they're kind of forward of where I'm sitting, so they're going to be a little hard to reach also, but now that the runners are out of the way, they're a lot easier to get to. I'm going to continue to remove fuel injection components. There's a component here, needs to go away. Component here needs to go away. The return fuel line must have fallen down somewhere, but that needs to go away. Usually it's on this side somewhere. I don't see it. Probably fell down and hit the ground. You disconnect a bunch of other vacuum related lines that are coming off the plenum here. And let's see, what is this? Oh, that's going to the automatic transmission. Okay, that's the vacuum for the transmission servo. Good. And you shut up. What is your problem? They've been bad today again. I've been out here with the broom every time they start squawking close to me. I run them off. Alright, well, we're coming along. It's not as big of a hump as I thought it was going to be. It would be a lot easier with the engine out, but for the most part I've been able to get to the nuts and bolts, and that's really what's important. I also managed to get the spark plug caps out. And these guys, they're supposed to just be push-on, but the electrode nuts that are on the end of the, is it an electrode? Anyway, the little nuts that are on the end of the spark plugs that unscrew, Volkswagen doesn't use them, so you typically discard them, but these caps would slide over that, and you could hear it jump along the threads. Just zip! And when you go to pull it, sometimes they get stuck, but if you just unscrew it to the left, they'll come off the spark plugs, and that's what happens. So, anyway, it's out. Okay, a few things down here I need to adjust. This is something that's supposed to be straight. It got bent when it got caught on my hand, but anyway, it's fixed. It's a 10mm nut on there. It's going to come out. We don't need the entire thing there. It does have spark plug clip on it, but I can pull that out and shove it in the nut hole, actually. So, nut hole. Alright. Now we're making a little bit of progress. Let's keep removing parts. I just noticed something while looking through here, and that's the cylinder head temperature sensor, which is used for the fuel injection system, wasn't screwed into the cylinder head. I mean, it was screwed into like a brass connector, which you can kind of see right there, which I suppose the cylinder head heat would eventually get into it, but that may be one of the reasons why he was having problems with this thing running improperly or inconsistently. That could certainly have been an issue. Well, anyway, no longer going to be a problem with carburetors, because we're eliminating all this fuel injection stuff. Alright, back to the plenum garbage. Right now I'm just trying to get wiring harness stuff out of the way. This wiring harness, we're not going to gut it. We're not going to separate it from the existing car harness in here or the way it's tied up or run through the body. Rather, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take these little pieces of harness, just get some zip ties on them and tie them up and out of the way, just in case the owner ever decided he wanted to put the fuel injection system back on. And I think that's probably the wisest thing to do here. Alright, well, back at it. Plenum's got to come out. One of the case bolts removed, and now the entire plenum is loose, but apparently there's still another bolt. It looks like there's one that goes through that little loop that's on the back of the case, which I usually use for lifting the engine if I have to hoist it up, using a cherry picker or something. That's one of the good anchor points for that, but it appears it's bolted into that. Now, I know some people are saying, that's not a plenum, that's a plenum. Or it's a plenum, it's a plenum, a plenum. It's a plenum, it's a plum. Go grab my plums. That's not a plum. That's a throttle body. Well, you know what? It's all the above and it's none of the above at the same time, because either way, it's getting the fuck out of here. Alright, I hope that got it. There may be some wires or something connected to it, but we're about to see. Come on out. Is there an actual bolt in it? Ah, you know what? Oh, mother goat fucker. Okay, we'll fix that. Alright, you guys, you can see the bolt down there that I just took out, and I think that was what was holding this in. Yep, there it is. It looks like, oh, I forgot to unscrew the throttle cable. My bad. It was so well buried in there, it was easy to forget. That has a different kind of holdfast on it than they usually do. No worries. We'll get that out of there just the same. Okay. But that's going to clear up our engine compartment quite a bit. It's not going to be too much left in here. That's our vacuum line for the transmission. I was just about to pull it out thinking it was the fuel line. Alright, let's get that throttle cable off of there and get this thing out. Okay. Throttle cable is disconnected. There it is. And our plenum here goes into our box of junk. It's not really junk, but you guys get your drift. Alright, here's our wiring. The stuff that we're not using anymore, that all went to the fuel injection, or fuel rejection as my father used to call it. There's a lot of it too. Gonna have to bundle it all up and out of the way and get it tied off before we start putting carburetors and stuff in, because there's not going to be any room to do it then, will there be? No. So, get this all tucked up where it's going to be. That already looks good, and I didn't even put the zip ties on it yet. All these connectors are safe connectors. You see there's nothing that's exposed, there's no empty wires. And for the ones that are empty wires, they're grounds typically. This one's even broken off. Again, these are grounds. These all went to ground. They all went to the engine case in different places. And these are the ones for the fuel injectors themselves. See, again, they're all covered. And this was a ground. So, no worries on that. So we're going to tie all this stuff up and out of the way, like I said. So let me grab a handful of zip ties and the little clippers and get the tie-in. Alright, I got the light up in here because, well, the sun's starting to go down behind the trees. And this LED light, I gotta say, it's pretty bright. And while it's not meant to mount in a Type 3 trunk, it kind of was convenient that it actually clicked right in there. Alright, we got our wiring bundle all bundled up and out of the way. Nice and neat, zip ties, the works, everything's good. I'm going to degrease the top of this engine, but not until I actually put some intake manifold stuff back together. And it's a good thing I packed that intake manifold with some paper towel, because look, there's a washer sitting on top of it. See, that would have gone right down had I have not packed these things up. So, thinking ahead, yeah, Duckman, pretty brilliant of you to be, thinking that far ahead. Pretty good for your first time. Anyway, this is looking pretty good. Let me go grab the carburetor set. Maybe we can get the intake manifolds mounted on here tonight before it gets dark. And, well, we're going to be in a good spot if we can get the carburetors on here, too, and then we can tune them in the morning. Anyway, let me grab the box. I'll be right back. All right. I don't like what I'm looking at here. While it says CIP1, and these guys are great, the fact is it says EMPI. I don't like EMPI Weber clone China carburetors, and I hope that's not what's in this box. Because the owner showed me the listing where he bought it from, and it did say Weber, but maybe in the fine print somewhere it did say EMPI. So, well, you know what? Here it is. It says dual Weber 34 ICT kit. I hope this has the good intake manifolds on it. Not manifolds, rather. The good throttle linkage. Because that's really where the CB Performance kit shines. Aside from having real Weber Spanish-made carburetors, the intake, I said it again, the linkages are just far superior to any of the Chinese kits that you get. So anyway, we're going to open up the seal on this here real quick, and I really don't want to do that if this is wrong, but we need to find out. Because if this is a China set, I'm going to tell the owner to kindly get himself the right one, because I don't want to be stuck trying to tune this and it not working right, and the Chinese linkages all bending and coming out of alignment and screwing up my tune, and I changed out 3 China carb systems to real Webers this past year. 3 of them. And I'm a very low volume guy. You guys watch what I do. I don't fix a whole lot of cars. And really, it's just the people that come to me just by word of mouth. I don't advertise. You know, I just do my own YouTube thing that you guys are familiar with. And people know me, and it gets out there that, you know, hey, the Duckman can help you with some of this stuff. I'm trying to hold this camera with my chin. My chinny chin chin. But anyway, yeah, I'm not a huge for-profit shop here. I'm just a guy who makes videos on YouTube. Okay, yeah, we got empty stuff in here. This is not what I was hoping to see. I have seen other people sell the CB Performance kit rebranded with different names. Yeah, this is not what we wanted on here. No, definitely not. Okay, yeah. Okay, I'm going to talk to the owner about this, and we're going to get this set replaced. Put this all back in the box. Everything in here is unmolested. It can go back to Canada, where it came from. Nothing against Canada, guys. I know the whole thing that's going on in the news right now, you know, Trump and Trudeau and all that nonsense, but I got nothing against Canada. Got some good friends live up there. They've been good people. We're not going to get into any of the politics of it. Anyway, we'll be right back. You know, I just went and looked up the listing, and the CB Performance kit is cheaper with real Spanish carburetors and better linkage than the Chinese EMPI kit up on CIP1. And it was a significance difference, something like $100. So anyway, I got to talk to the owner about this. You definitely need to send these back. But for the cost that he's going to be paying on shipping and sending them back and buying the new set, it's probably going to cost him just as much as these did originally. But the big downside is we're going to be waiting probably about a week for the parts to come in. I'm shooting this on Friday, Saturday. It's coming over 2 days. So he probably won't even get the order in until Monday. Probably they'll be arriving just before next weekend. So I guess the next video on this car will be me putting the carburetors together. Unless I get to the fuel pump and the distributor first, but I guess we'll see. And you need to shut up! Shut up, you! I don't know what the hell your problem is. At least you're not as bad as your father, or grandfather, I should say. Biddy over here, he likes to start screaming whenever I start talking to the camera. And he's actually not being too bad today, all things considering. And his son, who's his father, is actually in the garage hanging out with Cheeky right now. And there's the ducks. Man, I got so much clutter in this yard. I keep saying I'm gonna... Asshole. I keep saying I'm gonna pick stuff up and move stuff around, and I do. It's always a little bit of a little, and then something else shows up. Somebody gives me something. Here, Duckman, have another lawnmower. Oh, gee, thanks. Here, work on this go-kart. Oh, yay. Here, put this engine together for me. Yay. I should have such a problem, right? That everybody, you know, is so needy and wants me. Anyway. Alright, we're going to close this thing back down. This is going to be it on this one today. So, licky, likey, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to pluck that dingle bell so you get updates every time I upload a video. Check out DuckShit.net for all my different social media links. And we'll be back, hopefully, with a new video well, for a new Volkswagen video next Sunday, and some kind of go-kart video coming up in the middle of the week. That's typically how we do things nowadays. If you don't like it, too bad. Thanks for watching, of course. And we'll see you guys in the next go-around. Now look at these two. Look at this. They're fighting with a cinder block between the two of them. What are you doing? What's funny is when they get so focused on each other, I can walk up and just pick one of them up, because they don't notice me anymore. Yeah, they're not super fixated right now, though. You heard that too, huh? Sound like a wreck hung up in something. Alright, stop your fighting. Stop your fighting. Stop your fighting. Come on. Hey, come here. Come here. See what I mean? I could just pick him up. He normally wouldn't let me do that. He'd run away. But this is Shitty Bitty. Right, Shitty Bitty? He's my first Roo boy. Yeah. I adopted him from a friend of mine. Yeah, it's his grandson. Yep, Dookie. That's what we've named him. He is the solar eclipse baby, so Sol is technically his name. But because he's always a shithead, we call him Dookie. Alright, stop your fighting, you guys. Look at this, see? This is what I'm talking about. Anyway, one of you guys is going in. Yep, we're going to put one of you in the dark, lock you up. Yep, going to put you in the hole. That's enough of this. Ripping your feathers out. He used to have a beautiful tail, and he finally had one growing in over the winter here, and it's gone now. But wow, that was like a mid-air jump kick. Anyway, I'm going to separate them before they start bleeding. Come on, stop. Why are you attacking me? You dummy. Why are you being a dummy? You dummy. Stop. 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 No wonder everybody hates you. Because you're a jerk. Everybody always wants to fight with him. But then again, you know, when he was younger, he was a real jerk and always wanted to pick fights with everybody else. Now everybody else gangs up on him and kicks his ass. Guess I can't blame them too much. Alright, that's enough for today. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. Just a little quick update on this before these carburetors go back. The reason why we're having trouble with these, just so everybody knows, there's no vacuum ports on the side of these intake manifolds, and they need that because this is an automatic. So it requires that extra vacuum hookup in order to work properly. So this is just not going to work. It doesn't come with any of the hardware connections to it. Yeah, I could probably drill them and thread them and make it work, but it's more work. This thing doesn't need them. But it also has the linkages that I just don't like. They tend to come loose. They tend to just wallow themselves out. I stay away from it. But just to be clear, and I didn't want to open these, and the owner told me not to open this and go any deeper into it so as not to lose any of the components that are inside of here. But yes, these are truly real, genuine Weber carburetors. And we didn't expect that until we actually opened the boxes. But CIP1 did not want to take this back if the boxes individually had all been opened. Now, the carburetor's not disturbed, but what they were really most buggered about was that these plastic bags have been opened and they're not. So CIP1 is doing the right thing by the customer and is accepting the return and giving a full refund. He might have to pay shipping or something, but nonetheless, CIP1 is awesome, guys. Do buy from CIP1. Just in this case, we have a different carburetor set that we'd like to put on this, and if not for anything else, other than the linkages and the fact that these don't have any vacuum ports and they need to. So that's the reason why these are going back. There's nothing wrong with this kit. Otherwise, yes, you could install this on there if you have a lot of patience and can deal with this kind of linkage. It'll work just fine. So there it is. Anyway, that'll wrap up this video. Thanks for watching, guys.